Here we are with a typical HO train set. This is our McKinley Explorer set. Your set will have similar components. HO is 1/87th the size of the real trains. It's the most popular scale in model railroading. There's more available than any other scale. It's a convenient size. You can fit it in a smaller room. And every train store that carries anything will have HO equipment. This set has a locomotive, cars, easy track. In one of two varieties, you'll either get the black road bed with steel rail or the gray road bed with nickel silver rail. You'll also have a terminal re-railer, the wires you need to set it up, a speed control, and a wall power pack. You'll have a list of components and an instruction manual to which you can refer. You should check your list of components as you unpack it. Make sure everything's there before you start to set up. If it is, we're ready to go.
Please note that during shipping, a car's wheel set may sometimes pop loose. The wheel set can easily be replaced by gently prying apart the truck and repositioning the wheels. The first thing you need to decide is where to set up your train. Any dry, firm, and flat surface will do, such as a floor, carpet, or tabletop. However, for long-term use, we recommend you set up a tabletop at convenient height. To make sure you have enough working room, it's a good idea to make a rough track layout by loosely placing sections of track in the configuration desired. Please note that the terminal re-railer section will later be connected to the power pack and power supply, so it's best to place it in a location convenient to a wall outlet or power strip. Some Bachmann HO trains come with an under-track magnet that will later be used to operate your train's Easy-Mate knuckle couplers. This is a good time to install the under-track magnet if your set comes with one. For best coupling and uncoupling results, install the magnet on a piece of straight track. The magnet attaches directly to the underside of Bachmann's Easy Track with the double-face tape provided. Make sure that the magnet and metal intensifier place are centered under the rails with a metal plate facing out, and then press them firmly into place. For help in locating the under-track magnet's position, an adhesive indicator is provided, and it should be centered adjacent to the magnet and applied to the side of the track. Once you've decided on all track placement, it's time to start assembling the track. This is probably the most important step required for successful operation of your train. Good track connections ensure a smooth operating surface and continuous contact for the track's electrical circuit. When assembling the track, push it together firmly and at the same time make sure the rail and rail joiners are seated properly. The rail joiners should slip over both bottom flanges of the rails, here and here. You must take care that the rail joiners do not slip under the rails without properly connecting. This will result in train derailments and electrical circuit interruptions. With a little practice, the track sections will snap together easily. But take your time. It cannot be overemphasized how important track assembly is for proper operation of your train. After your track is assembled, you need to double-check for joint connection and fit. Do this by lightly running your fingers over the top surface of the rails in both directions. Any problems will be detected by bumps or distortions on the track surface, and these can be corrected by carefully checking the rail joiner fit.
Some of our HO Spectrum sets have a DCC onboard locomotive. If you have one of those, you might want to consider our Easy Command control station. This will allow you to control up to 10 locomotives on a single track independently of one another. However, the speed control and power supply that's packaged with your set is adequate to run your train. Okay, our track's assembled and we're ready to make the power connections. Our power supply and speed control are a true plug-and-play system. No tools are needed. But wait, for safety, leave the power supply unplugged while we review the connections.
Power is supplied to the track in the locomotive by the power supply, speed controller, terminal wire, and Easy Track terminal rerailer. The first step in power connection is to turn the knob on the speed controller to 0. Next, we attach the terminal wire to the speed controller. Simply plug it in the back of the speed controller where it says Output to Track. Next, plug the terminal wire into the Easy Track terminal rerailer. Finally, plug in the connecting wire from the power supply into the back of the speed controller where it's labeled 16 volts AC in. Some Bachmann train sets come with a speed controller that has 2 push-button connectors labeled Accessories 16 volts AC on the back. These buttons are used to supply AC power to accessories such as track switches. To make a positive and secure connection, simply push in the button and insert one of the bare ends of the connection wire from your accessory through the opening. Now do the same with the other button and the other connecting wire from your accessory. Your speed controller is capable of powering one accessory at a time. Connecting too many accessories to the controller will draw current from your track and result in slower locomotive operation. It may also trip the internal circuit breaker in your speed controller. With the exception of plugging in the power supply, your power connections are now complete, and it's time to put your train on the track. Put the locomotive on the track and run the wheels back and forth over the terminal rerailer track. When the locomotive glides smoothly over the track, you know the wheels are all on the track. If your set comes with a tender, this should be next, and it attaches to the locomotive with a special drawbar coupler. Add the rest of the cars that come with your set to the train by placing them on the track and running them back and forth over the terminal rerailer until they glide smoothly. Then gently push them together. Their operating easy-mate knuckle couplers will engage automatically, but be sure you are not trying to couple cars when they are positioned over the under-track magnet. The under-track magnet is used for uncoupling cars, and we'll demonstrate its use a little later. Now you are ready to go. This is the part we've been waiting for. Be sure the knob on the speed controller is set to 0 and plug in the power supply. Now begin feeding power to the track by slowly turning the knob on the speed controller clockwise. When you do this, observe the direction the locomotive travels. If it moves backwards when the control indicates forward, stop the train and then simply disconnect, flip, and reconnect the terminal wire to the terminal rerailer track. The locomotive will now move forward as the power pack control indicates. Look at her go. Remember, never leave your train running unattended. An additional feature that some sets come with is a smoking locomotive. If your locomotive smokes, place just 3 to 5 drops of Bachmann smoke fluid down the smokestack. With smoke fluid in the fluid reservoir, your locomotive will puff beautifully for added railroad realism.